When it comes to accommodation, I think more or less every UK university has some kind of hall of residence. Um, Depending on the size of the university and depending on the location, some of them are owned by the university, some are contracted. There will be a range of choices from catered, self-catered, shared bathroom, own bathroom, invariably, other than very rare cases, shared kitchen. Um, and varying prices as well. Um, if you can afford it, I would always recommend any student, UK or overseas, to spend their first year in halls of residence because it's part of the university experience. You will make friends that you will keep for life, depending on how well you clean the kitchen and how well you cook. But it's such a valuable experience that if you can do it, I would always encourage it. If you can't, if you've come through clearing and there's no places in accommodation left, or if you can't afford it, there are private accommodation providers who specialize in students, but those do also tend to be quite expensive. And then you're looking at the private sector, at renting a flat, sharing a house. That, it has to be said, is much more difficult to do if you're not in the country. Some universities where they don't have such a big provision of halls of residence do have a private accommodation service. But the reality is, I think for an overseas student coming in and going into private accommodation, I would recommend finding somewhere that you have to stay for a week, 2 weeks, even if it's a cheap hotel, so that you can be on the ground and see the accommodation before you pay over any money and move in. And I think there's a certain security over your money there, that you're not handing over large amounts of money without having even seen a property. So number one choice, halls of residence. Number two, private accommodation, but have somewhere set up to stay for 2 weeks and then find your private accommodation when you're here, would be my advice.